Hi and welcome to this week's video. In this video I plan to get some bits sorted out for the tailplane and try to get the rear spar carry through sorted out and tidy up one or two little bits and pieces. So let's see how I crack on then. Come on then. Well, we have the fuselage the right way up, propped up at the tail end there on the box. I've been going through, well, we've got to remove that at some point, but that's going to happen a little bit later. That's my little mistake putting that piece in, but we'll decide what we're going to do with that once I've got engine mountings and bits worked out, what's going to go where and for how much. So it'll stay there for the time being. But we've got gussets having been put in along the top here, which wasn't done when it was upside down, and we've got the blocks put in down there at the bottom in the areas which we hadn't got when it was upside down, because it makes it so much easier to stick them in when it's the right way up. So that's the majority of work that's been being carried out. I've come back here and I've sorted out this little area, putting in the plywood top and bottom at the back there, and we'll shortly sort out here and make this so it's squared off, nice and flat for the tail post to glue to. That'll be an interesting little trick to get down to. At the moment though, what I'm doing is I've glued on a piece of 1¼ by 1/8 plywood with the grain running across the aircraft there, and this will be infilled with block wood. Then there'll be another one of these put on top, and then there'll be a piece of block wood going across the top there, 3/4 inch by 1¼ there and here, which is the tail plane or horizontal stabilizer mounting section. So I thought I'd get that sorted out, make sure everything is square and level. So that'll be working from the main spar carry through as being the datum for level, for making this section level. So I've got 0 on the instance meter there on my inclinometer for the rear post, which I've just glued into place. Well, while we've got that lot bonding, so that's seated, made sure that was dead level. So there it is on the front spar carry through, again showing 0. So those two bits are level. So I've just made these filling pieces here, which will sit in here with the joints going across. I'll bond those in, make sure everything is dead flat going across here. That block there is now all done. I'm going to mark a centre line and drill through and put in the bushing and that for the centre tail plane, because that's where that's going to go. And we'll sort out the drilling in this little lot later on. I don't know if you can see, you should be able to see that there's a couple of little sort of dents in the wood here from when it was upside down. So just putting a bit of damp tissue on there. Hot iron. And now hopefully it will focus. You'll see they've those two dents have gone. That's all it takes. Just a little bit of heat, bit of steam, gets rid of those dents. A lot of people will fill those, and then as the moisture neutralises in the wood, you'll end up with bumps where it pushes the filling section out. Unless it's a hard filler like an epoxy resin or something like that. Just a little bit of steam like that. That's just in the surface. That will now naturalise before I varnish it, no problem at all. There she is with the lower wings resting in place, so we can set up the rear spar carry through. I've got the front spar mountings clamped in position using the lines drawn on the side of the fuselage, which we did back a few episodes ago as a guide. So I've drawn a line underneath there, it says. Hopefully you can see that. I've sort of drawn a line underneath there, so we know where that those carry through members go there, and they're quite high up on the rear spar carry through. Hard really to see. I'll walk around. You can sort of see the height it is there, quite high up. So just need to get this rear spar carry through sorted out now. We need to cut in here a couple of places so I've got somewhere to clamp. And when I've got the wing off, or the wings off, I can clamp at the ends there to hold them in position until it cures. I need to clamp along the bottom edge here to keep that nice and flat on the carry through. And we'll see how we get on from there. It's interesting to have the wings sort of on. This shows how small the aircraft is, really. Well, I clamped it and brought it in. I've just put a couple of other clamps on there, but they're very, very slack, just to make sure that ply base here is butted up. I've cleaned off the excess resin that came out the front, so it's all ready to go. And I'm really glad, if you look down here, that I went by doing the actual wing in position, because that's about 1/16 of an inch. That would have been 1/16 of an inch too far back. Yeah, glue's pin. Glue's still down. Yeah, so I would have been 1/16 of an inch out. Not bad, but that's just going off a master rib rather than off the actual wing, so it just shows it's really important to do with the wing itself. I've marked on here the top of the spar mounting bit. I'll take that off the wing, and then what I'll do is I'll just put that in place so I can work out exactly where the lower side is, and I'll make up a block to jig this to the right height so that both sides will be the same, so I can just rest that spar carry through bracket onto that when I set the dihedral, and then I could drill and deal with that side. And the rear face here, when that gets drilled, that'll be drilled. I'll use a clinometer to set the tilt of the wing to get the instance just right, and then drill the rear spar carry through. Quite a chunk of process to go on there, but that's for some time in the future. I've put a big square in and checked that this is absolutely vertical. Once this is cured, there'll be a diagonal piece going through from here to the top of the spar carry through, and from there to a point about halfway up the back here, a thin one goes in just to triangulate things, and that'll make things a bit more rigid. And then I'll make up blocks, the corner blocks, just to go in here at the front and rear onto the longeron, same height as the longeron or slightly below, because the mounting brackets were fairly close to the longeron. There wasn't a great deal of distance there, so that'll just help reinforce this. It's not shown on the plan, although on the plan it does say corner blocks in all corners, so that'll be one bit. And then a diagonal will need to go in from here across to there. Okay, so the ply plate is now bonded on top of the filler block. So you can see that's set up to 0 degrees with the datum on the main spar carry through at 0 degrees. So all nice and flat at the moment. The diagonal brace there going down to the rear spar carry through. That's bonded in place at the moment on both sides, and the last of the diagonals going across the bottom there is in. So all we're going to do now is make up blocks and bits and pieces again. That'll be next week. That was the big job, getting that rear spar carry through in, and having that all dressed back now with the sort of corner sections acting as gussets. Just trying to sort out this tail post. I've used a bevel gauge along the top here, making sure that that is equal on both sides. I've done it down at the bottom here. What I've done is because this is going to this cross grain stuff, I've cut and sanded the cross grain bit with the razor saw and a block there. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a plane. I'm just going to plane down. I've just joined the two areas up with a straight line using a steel rule. So I'm just going to use a little box plane this down, and that will make that nice flat area for the tail post to sit on. Oh, there we go. There's still a very slight hollow there. I'll put a bit of bulking agent on the resin for that bit. I don't want to take this back too far. But that's now nice and flat. I've checked it with the bevel gauge, so it's good all the way down. We can I suppose temporarily put the fin tail post against there and see how it sits. Well, there's the fin in place. The tail post is there, nice and equal all the way down the side, so there's yeah, fits absolutely sort of spot on. The ply sides, I'm going to put my ply sides on after the tail post is bonded in, and I'm actually taking my ply sides out past here to this edge here, so it's actually going to be bonded onto the fin post, so that will be effectively gusseted. It's not what it's shown on the plan really, but I think that makes it a little bit stronger, and we're not adding any real weight at all, and we know it's all right because this is all sitting pretty much on the center line. So look at it from there, that's in the center of the fuselage, so this tail post section here isn't twisted one way or the other. Well, not a bad week. Hopefully next week we can get started on doing some more little fiddly mod bits and pieces I want to do to try and get some things sorted out going forward into the cockpit. But we'll see how we get on, and we've got to finish off that tailplane section as well. So join me next week. Look after yourselves. Bye now. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the thumbs up. You can subscribe or even hit the little bell notification for future videos. Any comments would be appreciated, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Remember, go fly and feel the sky.